Hello and welcome to another monthly update on how my finances are going in retirement. This one is for February 2026. My normal budgeted expense figure is $3,740 a month. My actual expenses during February, excluding my rental investment property, rental income and expenses, which I track separately. So my standard living expenses was a total of $8,604 during the month. This is higher than the typical month, mainly due to groceries. There was still 1,288 during the month, which is higher than $1,000 I budgeted. I'll probably need to increase that figure for next year unless I can reduce my grocery spending. This was actually slightly lower than usual. Car costs during the month, I had to pay $1,545. This was about half the payment for my Vego and CTP for two cars, my everyday driving car and an old vintage car I have in storage, which I don't actually use and I might sell. I did it using a PayPal Pay in 4, so this is only two out of the four payments. There'll be another similar amount next month as well. Entertainment expenses during the month was $376. This was higher than my usual monthly plan. I bought a few items for fossicking and I also bought a tricep bar for home gym equipment. Also, quarterly payment of council rates for my house and my holiday home were due during the month, so it was $902 for quarterly payment for the two properties. Utilities, there was also a quarterly payment for electricity and water bills for my home, so it was $1,108 paid. And also my savings figure was higher than the usual month because the quarterly transfer to the investment bond was made, so the monthly expenses for savings was $2,002 during the month. So in terms of income during February, my salary was still zero because I've not got a job yet, if ever. Pension received from Q Super Lifetime Annuity was $2,434. Pension received from the self-managed super fund was zero because I haven't done my annual minimum pension payment yet. I'll do that in June. Interest received was $64 for the month. I did some DoorDash delivery for $285 during the month. No miscellaneous income, although I did earn 50 cents from AdSense on my blog. And my total income for the month was $2,783, so considerably less than my expenses. Um, in terms of net worth during February, my non-retirement savings went down by $7,981 to $479,779. This was mostly due to a few individual stocks I own having a bad month. My retirement savings, which are in index funds, that actually went up $33,292 to $2,338,610, roughly. My real estate holdings, net of the mortgage, so that's my home, my holiday home, and the investment apartment, total 2,483,172, which is an increase of 33,157 for the month. Art, gold, etc., mainly due to the gold price. That increased $6,196 to $104,558. The gold and silver coin collection I have, that's only valued at bullion prices, so the actual value might be slightly higher than that if I ever sold it. But you don't know. It depends if you have to pay auction fees or get a bad price from a coin dealer. So I just priced them at bullion value. My day-to-day car, I've still got that listed as $8,000, which is what I paid for it. I haven't included my second car, which is a old collector's item, which I might sell. So the total assets that I report on minus liabilities was 5,414,119, which is an increase of 64,664. So for retirement to date, which is 7 months so far, my net worth has increased by $263,814. And relative to that, my spending for the 7 months is 39,949. So spending is higher than budgeted, but lower than my growth in portfolio value, but that's subject to market fluctuations. So been good so far for 7 months, but who knows what the future holds. So overall, my spending has been consistently higher than I budgeted. So for next financial year, I will likely modify my spending by eliminating the spending on private health insurance, which costs me about 300 a month, and the same for my wife. It's hardly worth having, especially if I'm not working. There won't be any Medicare levy surcharge. So for the benefit we receive in standard expenses for medical and dental, it's certainly not worth it. And yeah, it may be worth it if you want to get a hip replacement or major surgery done in a private hospital, but the public system seems fine for most things. So I don't think it's really worth the $500 or $600 a month. Um, I've also got to add $100 a month for my son's travel expenses for university, which I'm paying. I hadn't included that in my budget. I probably need to include my food budget to at least $12.50 a month instead of $1,000 a month, because it doesn't seem possible without eliminating things that I don't want to eliminate, or buying home van versions of banned items. So I'll increase the grocery budget a little bit. I need to add 200 a month extra for car costs unless I sell that second car. Paying two lots of CTP and comprehensive insurance and registration is a bit expensive if I don't use the second car. I need to add 600 a month extra to allow for the investment bond transfers. It doesn't affect net worth, but it does affect the cash flow if I include it in the budget. Either that or I just exclude it completely from my budget tracking and don't include it in the figures. Um, so I'm also in the process of getting a quote and development application done for adding a cranny flat to my holiday home property. This will likely cost about $200,000 all up. But that will mean I can then use the granny flat if I go up and stay for the weekend, do some maintenance or cut the grass or whatever, go fishing on the lake. But it'll mean I can rent out the main house, which should be rentable for about 30,000 a year. So it seems silly to leave the house mostly empty when I could provide an income and cover the expenses of it at least. That would also give me some extra income, which I could add to the offset account to pay down the mortgage on my investment apartment, which is currently still a little bit negatively geared, which doesn't make much sense when you're not working and don't have a taxable income. Um, I don't include the investment income, investment apartment income and expenses in my budget figure, but like it's generally about $12,000 a year negative cash flow after you get tax deduction for depreciation. But again, tax deduction will not be of any benefit when I don't have a taxable income if I don't get a job. So, yeah, I may look at whether that's worth keeping in the new financial year as well. Depends. If I get the holiday home rented out, then it'll still overall offset the taxable income from that. So it may still be worth having a negatively geared property. So overall, it's neutrally geared, but we shall see. So that's the situation for February. Generally, a decent month in terms of net worth, not in particular with my individual shareholdings, and expenses were a little bit higher than expected, and buying silly things like sluices and pans for doing gold fossicking. That's just a hobby. You're not going to make any money out of hobby gold prospecting, so and driving somewhere to do it will be more than what the gold value would be anyway. So, yeah, it was a bit of a silly expense, but I was in the mood for buying a sluice and some gold pans. See if there's any gold in the black sands on my local Sydney beach, which is very unlikely, but gives me something to do while I'm sitting at home watching YouTube and enjoying retirement. So we'll see how March goes.